I have notes today in my cute Animal Crossing notebook. Hey guys, it's Beck, or Beck the Noir on Instagram, and I wanted to start a new series for you guys because I'm not styling a wig every single week. That basically beginner's guide to cosplaying, since it's getting a little bit safer out in the recent times. It's probably not going to get super safe for quite a while, but anyways, since it is gonna slowly start getting a little bit better, there's cons probably gonna be happening eventually again. Some people might be interested in getting into cosplay and just need some help on where to start, so I wanted to try. So for un moment. For this series, I'm gonna be using one cosplay of mine. I'm just gonna use Raven because that's the one of the more simple ones that I have and the one I finished most recently making. To kind of give you lowdown of how I went about building her. Kind of like a planning sort of thing. I have experience previously building Raven back in 2017, and this is my revamp version of her. And I got her nice and stored away for our next con when it happens again. So keep a lookout in the future for possible storage, cosplay storing tips, tricks, things as well. I'm gonna go through my planning stages with her and how I planned to make her. When you're planning your first cosplay, I think it's really helpful to maybe get like a sketchbook out, piece of paper, sketch what you have in mind, and then you can break it down into layers if you choose to do that. Okay, so quick sketch, kind of a a more simple version of what I do to plan my cosplays in my handy dandy little notebook here. I just started keeping a physical notebook because I personally like it more, but also using like a notes app. Cosplanner is a great app. They're certainly helpful to keep everything in order, all your things there. Highly recommend that app. I'm really bad at keeping up with it, so physical notebook. Anyways, but I basically drew out her bodysuit shape, so that way I kind of broke it. If there's multiple layers, you draw like a base layer and then the next layer, that sort of thing. So I have on here her bodysuit, and then I have up here what kind of fabric that I wanted to make it out of. You have all the individual pieces basically drawn on here. Her cape, kind of how you want the cape to fit, what I do is what I make each piece out of, so that way I kind of have an idea of how to do it. So I like visual drawing it out and planning that way. And then that way I can see all the layers to it and just kind of make notes on it, so that way I can remember a little bit easier how I'm gonna do it, what I'm gonna do for each piece, etc. It's a little bit more important to do this kind of step with a little bit more complex cosplays, but I always forget pieces, so having this kind of helps me remember where pieces go, what pieces I need. Like I almost forgot her little arm things, so I drew those in last minute because remembering is difficult. Anyways, from my sketch on, I would plan a budget around that sort of thing. So I would say this is how much I ideally want to spend on like fabric, or how much I want to, what kind of fabric I can get kind of cheapest for the look that I'm also going for. So I kind of splurged on her, and I did get like a velvet type fabric for her cape, but I got a cheaper like faux latex sort of thing for her bodysuit because I wanted to try something new. The other thing, depending on what cosplay that you need to make, you need to have certain skills to make it, such as sewing for something like this, or if you're going to do armor making, I would recommend finding someone else who actually knows how to do it. Or some sort of foam smith's tutorial to teach you how to do it, because I am not that. I'm certainly trying, but I am not that. Sometimes after budgeting out a cosplay like this, you can see that there's other cosplays out there that you can buy pre-made, all the fun stuff cheaper. If you want to go that route, that's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with buying your cosplay. I personally prefer to make my own, so this is why I'm going over everything about what I know. But that's why most of my cosplays are made by me. There are a couple in there that's bought because they were a little bit too difficult for me to make feasibly in like a decent amount of time or within a certain budget that I had. So I did purchase a couple, but most of my cosplays are made by me. And then the other part of this planning part is in budgeting for a wig. I know that most of my channel is about making really cheap wigs work, and I'm always an advocate for it. I love cheap wigs, but it's still going to be a part of your budget, whether it be $10 to $50, depending on what quality you want to get. As you can see on here, I have rented out like polymer clay for the base of her belt and grommets for the outside of her belt, and then elastic for that part of the belt. It just kind of helps me plan out what material I'm going to use for each cosplay, and this is how it turned out. So highly recommend planning out ahead of time, finding previous tutorials, so then that way you don't spend all the money on all of the things and then it just totally end up not working, because I've done that before many a times. I'm still doing it as we speak. And if you can't find a tutorial for your specific character, you could possibly look around and find characters that are pretty similar to what you're looking for. So let's say I couldn't find a tutorial for Raven, I would find another character with a bodysuit with maybe similar accessories, a cape, find patterns off of that. I'm currently working on the new 52 version of Raven, and for her cape, I ended up finding a Batman cape tutorial and using that to start the pattern for mine. Like, I changed it around a bit, but the base pattern did come off of a Batman cape pattern, because I wanted like the similar kind of look of the cape, especially when it's spread out all the way. So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up the first step. The first step to starting your new cosplay. You have to plan, you have to budget, you have to figure out what you're going to do first. If you are planning on just buying your cosplay being done, of course I have wig tutorials on how, if you want to style your wig in a certain way or do more hard style of it, I do have tutorials out for that, so I would recommend taking a look at them if you want to learn a little bit more about wigs and how to style them. Otherwise, if you bought the actual cosplay, congratulations, you're good to go. You might want to do some alterations. I personally, when I buy a cosplay, I buy a size up, and then I fit it to my body and I stitch where I need to stitch, and then it kind of looks more like custom made for me. Like, while it is still a cheaper kind of pre-bought cosplay, if I buy that size up, I have the room to tinker with it and figure out what I like and what I don't like and all of those kinds of things. And as always with pre-bought cosplays, you can change out certain accessories for ones that you do make if you wanted to make smaller pieces but not like the whole thing, and that is one way to up your pre-bought cosplay's quality if you wanted to do that as well. It just tends to look a little bit nicer sometimes, because sometimes those pre-bought cosplay companies can kind of skimp on the details, or you know, not put the best quality materials into things. So if you wanted to like focus on one thing over the other, you could certainly buy like a base or something as a pre-bought cosplay and then add to it, which I just recently learned, and it's been great. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the first video in planning your first cosplay, beginner cosplay tips kind of series that I'm going to be doing. Next time, based off of how I did Raven, mainly just to get an idea, because it's everything's dependent on what costume you choose or who you want to be or whatever, because things can vary person for person. But based off of how I did Raven, I am going to explain to you how I continued on with that cosplay making process, because she's a little bit more simple and easy to explain. Yeah. Now, if you have any other questions or anything for me, comments, concerns, anything you want to learn in particular, leave it in the comments below. I would appreciate if you liked and subscribed, and you can expect to see some more cosplay content out of me. And then maybe eventually when things are safer again, I might start to do some con vlogs. You can see how I do my con thing, which is a lot of fun for the most part, because I do host meetups around the state. Always appreciate a like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys for watching. Leave a comment below if you have anything you want to let me know. But yeah. All my socials are also down below. I'm pretty active on it. If you ever have a question, it's always safe to DM me on Instagram. So you guys have a good day, night, or whatever time it is, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!